This Thrive Loud episode is brought to you by Hinge Consulting. Success on Amazon hinges on well-executed strategies. Contact Hinge Consulting to learn about total Amazon channel management and to see if your business has what it takes to grow over 300% over the next 12 months. That's Hinge Consulting at hingeconsulting.co.
Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond. Wait a second. I've been thriving loud my entire life. When the heck am I going to be a guest on one of these shows? Lou Diamond? He sounds like somebody's brother-in-law that won't stop sleeping on the couch. Lou Diamond? Isn't that the guy on like late night TV that's trying to sell you something?
It's time to take an inside look at those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. Today on Thrive Loud, we bring you speaker, trainer, motivator, consultant, coach, author, founder of Learning Never Ends, and one witty, funny Valley girl that lives in Pittsburgh. And I swear, if you ever had the opportunity to meet her face to face, her smile will charm you every single time. Thrive Loud listeners, I bring you Julie Ann Sullivan. Julie Ann, how are you today?
I'm great. You forgot to say I'm a podcaster too.
You are a podcaster too, and at double the time that I've got, you've got more than one podcast. It's just so many things going on. We'll lump it in.
How do I get through the day?
You know what? I've been trying to figure out how to get through the day every day, and somehow it manages to happen.
It works, doesn't it? Anyway. It
does. And you can tell the Thrive Loud listeners that Julie Ann Sullivan is just always quick-witted and right on her toes with everything. and we are very lucky. You hear her giggling and pretty happy because before we hit the record button, she came from one of the best client meetings ever, a dream client. So we're going to talk a little bit about her work and her world and understand a little bit of that so she can help connect to all of us. Does that sound like a plan, Julie Ann Sullivan?
I am so excited.
So with that, let's get you rocking and rolling and just take us wherever you'd like to at this point. You want to start from the very beginning in Southern California, or you want to keep it to where we are more recently?
Well, we could talk about that. So I'm a Valley girl from Southern California, and I used to say most of my life, but I don't think that's true anymore. And I came to Pittsburgh. I actually lived in the Valley, you know. And then I moved to a place called Mammoth Lakes, California, which is way up in the Sierras, up at 8,000 feet. And that became my love. I just got really connected to the earth, and I love seasons, and I love the small town, and it was a good fit for me. And then I moved back to Southern California to get my MBA, and it was not a good fit. And I knew that was just a visiting point, and I needed to get out of there. I met my former husband there, and we got married, and I told him I had to move. And it just so happened he grew up in Pittsburgh, and it just so happened he got a job opportunity here, and I came back here and loved it. And I have been here for 28 years.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
And I do love it. I miss the mountains and probably would move to Colorado if that would work, but it hasn't yet.
Mm-hmm.
But right now I'm very happy. This is a fantastic city. There's so much to do, so much to see, so much art and culture. The people are really kind. I love the 4 seasons, although I will admit I'm ready for spring.
I'll say this, that I used to do a fair amount of business in Pittsburgh. I made sure to go there as often as I could. I had some really good clients that I did some business with, and made sure that we covered all the major sporting events within the Pittsburgh area. We never, though, were able to work out a Steelers game. Mostly
we're more than sports.
Yeah, well, I know this, but hold on. But that was the thing that I realized, not only more than sports, but also really good restaurants and dining and culture it's like one of those hidden gems that more and more people get a chance to know about.
Every time somebody comes to visit me, they go, wow, this place is really neat.
The only thing they have to fix is that really long tunnel that leads into the city that doesn't get very good cell service. I've gotten trapped in there a couple of times. But
actually, you can have a phone call in there now.
Oh, okay.
They fixed it for you.
They knew. They heard. They got my memo.
They were tired of you nagging and nagging and nagging. I said, oh my God, this guy keeps coming here and nagging us. So they fixed it. So you can come back now. I look forward to your visit.
And I look forward to it as well. Julie, help me out here. Help me understand. I think I'm a big fan and a believer that learning never ends. And I want to understand specifically how your company thinks about that as well and what you do specifically.
Okay. That's the name of my company, Learning Never Ends. And I picked that name because for me, that's certainly true. I had an undergraduate degree in psychology. And since the day I graduated, I have deliberately learned about human behavior every day, either mine or someone else's. And I think I know by being open and allowing the world to come into you, you become a better person. Well, that just really relates to businesses as well and becoming great leaders. Great leaders continuously learn. They continuously find where their weaknesses are and make them into strengths. And they also do that for the people that they work with.
Right.
I was just telling a group the other day, a great leader would really like the people that work with them to be able to take their job. Like that's where they really want to push them to. So I think it's that's a part of learning never ends. Somebody asked me once, what could you get better at? And my answer is always everything.
Yeah. I like the way you say that you're opening up to where that opportunity is. That's something that I speak a lot about in being open to connecting to others, and that it isn't just about making connections and relationships. It's actually helps improve the way, as you said, lead, learn, and develop and grow. And it's powerful stuff. So when someone says, I've got a problem, I need to call Ann Sullivan. What's that problem?
Well, that problem usually is, it could be recruiting and retaining good talent, or it could be energizing their workforce so that they work harder and smarter and wake up in the morning and say, hey, I want to go to work instead of, I think I'm going to go to the movies instead. Right? Because, so it's really getting people energized and engaged about the place that they go to work. So it's not only about the job they're doing, but understanding the greater purpose of where they work. It's like a real estate agent just doesn't sell a house. They sell a home. They sell a place where memories are going to be made or where people feel safe. So you see the difference. So when people come to me, they can no longer tell their people how to grow. They need someone else to tell them.
I gotcha.
It's like if you have kids, and I'm sure many of your listeners have kids, you can give them advice 6 times, 7 times, 23 times that they don't listen. But when Mark down the street tells them, they come home and tell you this great idea like they never heard it before.
Isn't it amazing? I joke about the fact that, we seem to think that we're communicating to our children and we don't always seem to get through to them. And then a random stranger can tell them something of brilliance. It is true. You're right.
And I think in business, that's what happens too. Even if you have a great leader who's out there and doing coaching on their own and always reading and learning and bringing their team in for book clubs and discussions and coaching, at some point, that's still my boss.
Yeah. I was going to share this with you, and I think this is pretty interesting. One of the reasons, since we're both podcasters, and what people have told me about this show and other really good business podcast shows is that the message that gets delivered hits them in a different way. And I spoke to someone who actually says, we talk about soothing sounding voices or very powerful and motivating voices that can uplift you. And there is power literally in voices and how it changes you. And part of the reason why, whether it's you're a CEO or a leader or a manager and your constant communication asking a team to do something can almost come out as white noise after hearing the same thing over and over again.
Absolutely.
And when you listen to a fresh new podcast or someone amazing like Ann Sullivan, these tones and laughter and pieces connect to us because it's like unique sounds that we haven't heard as often as other things that we normally do. And you're 100% right. That is part of the reason why so many of us great coaches and consultants and communicators use this medium, because we are connected to so many great people and we want everyone to benefit from it. And I love that message that you have, because that way, the description you gave is so true. People don't always get it from somebody internally. So I like that. So when we have the problem, we know what to call you for. What do you enjoy most about the work that you do?
Well, I love podcasting like you do because it affords us to meet incredible people. And I'm pretty sure you're like me. We're both relationship people. So it's really important to build those relationships. So that's the first reason I like podcasting. After that, I really like to embed myself in a company. Mm-hmm. I don't mean I'm going to bring my blankie or anything like that.
I figured that's not what you meant. Yeah.
Well, you never know. Somebody could be listening and going, she's weird. I like working with people who understand that change takes time. Mm. Like you, I do keynotes also, but it's not my favorite work. I'll be honest. There are some speakers that have the big speech and the lights and the music, and it's a entertainment besides doing a good message. And that's great. And the people I know who do that really well. But I prefer, if I have my preference and if I'm able, to work with a company over time. Yeah. I really like to see those changes over time. I'm not saying one's better than the other because we all have our strengths. But that's what I really like to do. And that, as you know, usually includes some kind of coaching as well.
Right.
One-on-one coaching.
Talk to me about something that you wrote not too long ago, a very wonderful piece of literature here in your book so that the listeners can understand a little bit about what the message that you embedded in there. See what I did there?
That was very good. I'm very proud of you. Yeah. I didn't even have to pay you for that.
No, you didn't. Well, actually.
Later.
Anyway.
So I wrote a book called Blueprint for Employee Engagement, and the subtitle is 37 Essential Elements to Influence, Innovate, and Inspire. What I discovered through my Businesses That Care podcast and in talking to C-suite executives about what they really do in their companies to engage their employees, and compared that to people who are still trying to grasp if employee engagement and business culture is a good idea, and there's way more than those than you would think, I realized that what stopped them was that the whole concept was too big. Mm-hmm. They didn't even know where to take a first step. The book I wrote is broken up into 37 chapters. And basically, each chapter is a left side and a right side of the page. And I give a definition. I get what we call WIFM, what's in it for me, so they know why it's even important. I give them an actual step to take right now, an open-ended question for them to think about or discuss with their team, and a quote, and that's it. Maybe 200 or 300 words. What I found is that people like the book because, oh, wow, I can read this chapter. I can understand. I can choose to take this one step and I'm done. I can put it down and then I can pick up another chapter another day. So it allows that big, huge canopy of, oh my gosh, employee engagement, business culture. There's too many things. It allows them to pick one or two or, whatever they want. You could take one of my chapters, as short as it is, and work on it for a month or 2 months, depending upon, how much you want it to become a new habit in your organization.
I like it. And I like the fact that you've got my initial thought when I heard 37 chapters and my heart stopped, and then realizing we're only looking at 74 some odd pages. That's actually amazing. So no,
Yes.
It sounds so great because you've picked those topics from the experience of what you had, and I like those. I like the very tactical pieces too. I was actually going back to what was still swilling in my brain, which is so true. There are people that speak, and there are people that do the consulting work and get embedded within it. I love uncovering a lot of the problems that you see, and it's amazing. What I always find, and this is so true, right? It's no different than someone explained to me. It's the lost keys scenario. Very often, people will lose their keys, and they'll go crazy and they won't know where it is. And another person just comes in out of nowhere and finds the keys instantly, which is, by the way, really frustrating, obviously. But it really has to do with the fact that we're so involved in our own problems and our own work and the things around us that we sometimes don't literally see the things that are most evident and prevalent. And that's true with problems and being a consultant. And a lot of times, just not only by meeting people or embedding yourself into a company, just listening to
absolutely
one conversation of a client. I sat in a meeting with a client recently. They asked me to sit in on, and I listened, and I heard every single major problem right come in front, but nobody else could hear it. And in a meeting with the CEO of the company, I said, would you like me to help you uncover where the biggest problem is? And it was so much fun because I go, how did you know this? And I go, the keys were right there. I should have seen that. So you should have
a lot of times.
Yeah.
A lot of times with clients, I do a survey before I come in to do my first presentation or strategic meeting. And I'll do a survey, and that gives me such valuable information. And everybody knows that the survey is confidential and anonymous, so I get really good information. And it was interesting. One of the clients I worked with was on communication, and the survey.
Go have that tea. We discussed having tea and water nearby on this particular call.
Here.
Look at that. There you go. Go ahead.
Anyway, the survey, the results from that, and then when you sit and you start listening to what people have to say, they brought me in for communication, and the survey showed that the worst communication was between the workforce and the leadership. And then you go in and you're saying, what is it you want? And they say, oh, we think we have a problem with communication.
Right.
And then I can say, yes, you do.
I love that. So Julie Ann Sullivan, I asked this question of every guest on Thrive Loud, and I'm actually kind of curious to see where this one goes.
Okay.
You are a thriving person. You have a thriving consulting practice and a great podcast and all these amazing things going on because you are an amazing person, and that's why you're on this show. When you have trouble thriving, who do you turn to get back on the thriving track?
I surround myself with good friends, and so I turn to them. I have a couple of people who I mastermind with. I have a mastermind group with 4 other women. I can call any of them, which I have, because we all, this is a great day. I lost this, proposal. It's not such a good day. Or, things happen in our lives. Like I told you before, I'm riding a wave, but the crest of the wave doesn't last forever. So I think it's good friends in they're other professional speakers. Because one thing I have found out, and you might have too, but people who are not in this business don't really understand what we do.
So wait, I'm going to opine on that after you finish your point, but continue through. Keep going.
Oh, so I make sure that I have people in the profession that I can go to about specific things that have to do with my work because they understand. Then I have a group of friends. I have a really great girlfriend here in Pittsburgh who I'm very close with. And I also have my dearest friend lives in England. And if I'm having a personal setback, I can talk to them.
Right.
So it's people, right? I'm a relationship person. So I go to people, or I go on a walk with my dog, or I listen to some calming music, or I eat chocolate.
I like that. But by the way, for the people who don't always listen to the show, and specifically a lot of the guests who haven't heard some of the older episodes or the guests, I always laugh because the range of the answers to this question go from the internal meditation to running and jogging or physical activities to eating to talking to friends to as even in one of my favorite conversations, people literally going into the body and soul of a past famous person and that inspires them. And I mean, amazing stuff, or even a book. And I always love that asking the question because it's the diversity of the answer is what actually excites me. And I never know where it's going to come. So it's always fun. And I love chocolate. Who wouldn't love eating chocolate?
Yeah, really.
I'm a dark chocolate fan. Are you milk or?
Ooh, me too, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
Good.
Yeah.
Good stuff. What,
so I like to have a diversity of places to go for a diversity of issues.
I love
it.
Yeah.
So.
No, it makes perfect sense because you're a very diverse individual. I mean, I've seen you.
That is true.
What I was going to say about, you have your friends within the business that don't exactly know what you do. Recently, I was meeting a bunch of people through really wonderful folks who were not too far from where I live. And someone I'd never met before, we just started a conversation and asked me what I did. And I explained what I did to them. And the look of just complete perplexity, like, you can do that?
That's a profession?
You can speak to people, coach, and consult? I don't understand. How does that work? And
you get paid?
We hope so. The good times we do. So, Julie Ann Sullivan, let's do this here. I want to, because I've recognized a fun thing I want to tackle towards the end of this interview. Give us all the places. Give us all the places that we can find you, social media, the plugs, and everything. I want to have that out in the way, and hearing it from you is going to be better, so our listeners know exactly where to go.
Okay, so here you go. The best thing to do is to call me 724-942-0486, or you can go to julieannsullivan.com. That Ann does not have an E on it. And there's a place there you can contact me, or you can go to Julianne at juliannesullivan.com. You can go on Twitter, and my Twitter handle is JAS, that's my initials, at, the word at, LNE, which is Learning Never Ends. That one's kind of hard, but my name was taken.
I do have a popular name, so that does happen.
Yeah. And I'm on YouTube, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm everywhere.
You are actually. That's true.
I'm on iTunes, Mere Mortals Unite podcast. It's everywhere. C-suite, find me. I'm there.
I love it. And by
stalk
the way,
me.
Please don't. We don't need to stalk you, but we will put all of the links and everything and the phone number so that anyone can reach out directly. I don't know if I'll do direct dial link, but I'll put the number there. So, Julie Ann Sullivan, you and I have met at NSA events, and we've met at C-suite network advisor events.
Lucky me.
I know. Well, actually, lucky me. No, it's the other way around. And there's a great question. We started addressing this. The personalities that people like us, very relationship focused, outgoing personalities, you put them all in one room, and there is an energy, almost maybe too much of an energy. You've got some egos and some strong personalities that you could put together when you bring those type of people into a room. Would you say that the type of clients that you work with mirror or are on the other end of the spectrum of that type of personality that you deal with in that in that social connected environment that we just discussed, that I described.
Well, since I work with people in the C-suite, they're not going to be mice.
That's true.
Or they wouldn't be there. I would say they're the same type of people because, first of all, the clients that I'm going to have are going to be relationship type people, or we're probably not going to get along anyway, and they're probably not going to be reaching out. So I would say they're the same, and they're fun.
Yeah. People
have to be fun in all my circles. There has to be a part of them that's fun and knows the value of fun, because there is great value in fun, and it can be put together with hard work. You know, I was an accountant. I don't know if you knew that, for decades. And that I had a lot of fun being an accountant, which talk about makes people kind of crook their neck, but I did.
By the way, I do know people that love that stuff and enjoy understanding the numbers behind the business. It's pretty cool stuff, you know, in a creative way.
To me, it was like a big puzzle. Yeah. So until it wasn't, and then I had to get out.
So you had to get out and help connect other things and other puzzle pieces.
Exactly.
I like
exactly.
So, needless to say, you are a joyful, smiling, wonderful person that is truly what embodies what Thrive Loud is all about. And I'm curious to know where this one goes. What is your all-time favorite movie?
My all-time favorite movie, there's like 50 of them, but I'm going to pick Oh God.
Okay. Why is Oh God your favorite movie?
Well, I think it was the best thing John Denver ever did. He was so perfect. And George Burns was also perfect. But I just liked the message. There were quite a few messages in there about, I don't know, it was a picture of what I think of when I think of God. You know, I love the scene. John Denver's in the shower and he's all nervous and everything. And he says to God, who's George Burns, I'm so nervous because you never make mistakes, or something like that. And George Burns says, what are you talking about? Look at the avocado. That pit is way too big.
It's so good. Just what I always think about in that movie is, remember, he was given a business card to go meet him, and he kept going into the elevator, whatever floor it was, and the floor was on a number in a building that didn't exist. And he kept going up, and it kept taking him to that floor no matter what button he pushed, because they wanted to make sure he got there. Recently, I was in an elevator, and the digits on the elevator said we were moving up, but it turned out we weren't. We just kept staying on the lobby. There was something really wrong with the elevator, and it kept opening up. And I kept saying, and I just, I kept learning out. I go, I wonder if George Burns is on this level. So.
Yeah, you should have hung your head out and gone, God, except then they probably would have arrested you or something.
Yeah, well, it's New York. They actually probably would have thought I was normal like everybody else.
That's true. Yeah, so I would say I like that. And it's funny and heartwarming, and it embodies everything I am. I was
going to say you couldn't have bookended this conversation better, because that's what I think of when I think of you, as Julie Ann Sullivan is the most heartwarming, and I meant that, charming person that puts a smile on your face every time we see you. So couldn't be happier to have you on the show today. And I'm so glad that you were able to come on.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful to spend this time with you and your listeners.
And they appreciate it. And we're going to make sure that all the links are there, and numbers, phone numbers, podcasts, and links to your book as well.
Social security number, credit card numbers. That'll get them to listen.
Yeah, I've tried that tactic before. I think doesn't work as much. No. The less is more will always work out.
All right. Okay.
Again, thank you so much for coming on today, Julie.
All right.
And to all our Thrive Loud listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep thriving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. And follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Thrive Loud. Or find us on the web at thriveloud.com.